Thank y'all for tuning in to my channel. If you've made it here and you're having water problems, you've made it to the right place. I try to comment on anybody's comment, anybody having troubles, I try to get to you right away. As soon as I see the comment pop up on YouTube, I will try to help you. If you've noticed any of my other videos, you've noticed that all the comments. Since I've gotten an influx of people over the last couple of weeks, I decided to make a few more short videos explaining in more detail on the pressure switch and the bladder tank, because most of the time it's the pressure switch. So if you go and find your bladder tank, typically it's in your basement or it's under your house. Very seldom it's out at the well. This is going to be your pressure switch. You're going to have two wires coming in this side and you're going to have two wires coming in this side. You're going to remove this. If you have an electric meter, what you would want to do is you would want to test between all of these. So two wires are going to come in. The easiest way to remember this is to install it. Put your white wires on this side and your black wires on this side. And basically all it's going to do, these contacts are going to make a direct connection. You have a white and a black coming in and a white and a black going out. This contact here is going to allow the two white wires to basically join together, and then when the tank is full of water, this contact is going to open and the pump will shut off. So if you're having problems and you don't have water, let's just say you don't have an electric meter, a way to tell if it's your switch or if it's your pump or the wire going down in the well that's bad. So most of the time you don't have water, what you're going to find is these contacts are closed. If you go downstairs and you look at your switch and the contacts are open and you still don't have water, your issue is this nipple right here is plugged. So what you have to do is undo your wires, unspin this, and jam a screwdriver down through here, cleaning the obstruction. Typically it's iron, some form of corrosion that's prevented the water from reaching the diaphragm to give it pressure. That's just one situation. Now, if the contacts are closed, like you see here, and you still don't have water in your home, you take the cover of the switch, just like this, holding it in hand, because remember, these are going to have power. These are 240 volt. This is a plastic cover, does not conduct electricity. You're going to take the corner edge of this right here, that little lip. We're going to come over here and we're going to flick these contacts. Just like this. See how I'm taking that? We're going to flick them. And flick them a couple of times and see how you can open and close it. Your objective here is to see if they spark. If they spark, then you know the well pump is running. If they do not spark, then the well pump is not running. Another indication, another situation rather, sometimes under houses or out at the well, if your switch is out there, this produces a small amount of heat. Well, heat actually entices insects to come and crawl into here. A bug will crawl on top of here. This will be open. You'll be in the shower, you'll be washing dishes, whatever the case may be. The contact will close. It'll actually close on the bug. And what ends up happening is, if we take this little pencil here, and I'll show you, we're going to take this and we're just going to open that one side of that contact, and it stays open just like that. And a bug will be in there and it will not allow the current to pass through the switch in order to give the well pump the proper voltage. So the first test is to take the cover off and flick your contacts. Sometimes you'll notice the gauge will jump and the gauge will start to climb. 9 times out of 10, if you're having water problems, your gauge is going to be bad, so don't put so much weight on what this reading says. These are cheap, they plug up easily, and just don't worry about that. Your objective here is to get water, not based on what this gauge is telling you. So we're going to flick the contacts. Sometimes you'll hear water rushing into it, and like magic, it's back on. So if that's the case and it does cut back on, I recommend going to Lowe's or Home Depot or Ace Hardware, wherever the case may be, and buy you a new pressure switch. Now, there's 3 or 4 different models of switches. If you notice, this one does not have a little lever on the side. I would suggest staying away from those. Those are low pressure cutout switches, and they are frustrating to deal with, to say the least. The 3 different styles of switches, other than the low pressure cutout switch, are all different only by the pressure. If you can see in the top corner right there, my camera's having a hard time focusing, but right at the top it says cut on at 40 and cut off at 60. So what that means is this switch is going to open up and turn the well pump off when it's reached 60 psi. When it's reached 40 psi, it's going to close and turn back on, fill your tank back up with water until it gets to 60, and then it's going to open again. You buy a switch, I recommend buying the same switch you already have. So look underneath your thing, see if it's a 40-60, see if it's a 30-50, or see if it's a 20-40. Now this is all important due to the pressure that is put into the bladder tank, the air pressure, not water pressure. On the top of your bladder tank, there's going to be a little Schrader valve where you can add air. With no water in the system, use a tire gauge and check the air pressure in your tank. The air pressure is key to giving the tank the ability to push the water out into your house to give you pressure. You want your bladder tank somewhere between 2 to 5 psi below whatever the on number is. So on this switch, the on number is 40. You're going to want to set the tank somewhere around 35 to 38 psi and no more. If you have a 30-50 pressure switch, you're going to want to set your bladder tank air pressure at 25 to 28 psi, no more. And if you go down to a 20-40, you're going to want to set it around 16 to 18, somewhere around there. Typically, 20-40 pressure switches are old. They're kind of outdated. 30-50s and 40-60s are more common. Most people want more pressure in their home, so they're going to go with the 40-60. Now, if you have went under your home, you have flicked the switch, you didn't notice any arc, nothing like that, you do not have an electric meter, I'm going to say, because you didn't get an arc, the well pump is not working. There's 2 reasons why your well pump isn't working. Either it's dead because it's old, or the wire going down into the well has more or less broken into at some point. Come over here to this crude little drawing. Basically, we have 2 wires. We've got a black and a white coming from the house. Your switch would be here. All the switch does, it connects these 2 wires. Then we're going to go out to the well. We're going to have wire nuts at the top of the well, and then that wire goes straight all the way down to the pump. What makes a wire go bad is this pump. Every time it cuts on, it moves. And every time it moves, it hits the wall of the rock well. And a rock well is just about as aggressive and abrasive as an asphalt driveway. So if you were to take something that's more or less plastic coated copper and drag it across your driveway, eventually it's going to rub all the plastic coating off, showing whatever is underneath. In this case, it's the copper wire. It'll wear through the copper wire, or it'll give you a direct short. If it gives you a direct short, it's going to pop the breaker. Now, if you don't have water and your breaker's not popping, then it's probably not a direct short. It's probably an open, which means one of the wires is open. Now, you can have an open in a pump. It's not very common, but it's a possibility. If you have an open in a pump, then you pull it out, you replace the pump, you're good to go. Now, if your well pump is 10 years old, it's giving you great life, and you have to pull the well pump out to replace the wire, first thing you're going to want to do is inspect the wire. Then, if you don't find any imperfections in the wire from the bottom to the top, you're going to have to look carefully, then you can replace your pump. But if everything is already 10 years old, replace your pump anyways. Even if you find a bad wire and you can fix it, great. I would suggest replacing the full length. Whether it's 80 feet, 100 feet, 300 feet, or 400 feet, replace the entire length. The amount of money and time and effort you could pay someone or do it yourself to pull it out, you would only spend a couple more $100 putting in new wire and having it done right than fixing a break now, and then in a year and a half, it's Christmas time, your house is full of people, boom, you have no water again, and you'll be wishing you did it correctly the first time. I hope this video is helpful. It's kind of drug on a little bit longer than I wanted it to. Most people don't like watching long videos, but I try to make these videos very informative, very self-explanatory. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to comment. I'll be right on the other end, and I will get in touch with you as soon as I can. I have no problem giving my business line to anyone. You can call me any 7 days a week, during business hours, more or less, and I can help walk you through any installation that you may have, may need help with. Have any questions, feel free to comment. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. I appreciate subscribers. The only way I can do this and justify it is with subscribers. So please hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Give me a thumbs up. Shoot me a comment. If this helped you, great. I'd love to hear about it.